Defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs finish up their cross-examination of one of the rapper's ex-girlfriends. Now, the defense questioning the woman testifying under the pseudonym Jane about...
Because the defense brought Jane back to some of her testimony on direct examination when she said she felt used by Sean Combs.
Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul who once stood atop the entertainment world, now finds himself at the center of a courtroom drama so explosive it's left even his most loyal defenders stunned. After 5 grueling weeks of legal warfare, a turning point arrived, just not the one Diddy's team hoped for. A surprise court ruling went against him, marking a stunning legal loss that could ripple far beyond this one trial. And at the heart of it all was a mystery that held the courtroom in suspense: the delayed testimony of the key witness known only as Jane. If you've been following this case from the start, this is the moment everything changed.
Jane also testified that she would buy matching shorts for Combs and the escorts to wear during hotel nights, as well as erection pills.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more breaking updates as the courtroom drama continues to unfold. Week 5 began with tension hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Journalists, legal experts, and even rival celebrities packed into the gallery, anticipating the arrival of Jane, a central figure in the prosecution's case and a woman whose identity had been fiercely protected under seal. Jane's testimony was widely expected to be the fulcrum upon which the case would turn. Her words could either bury Diddy for good or open a door to reasonable doubt.
Defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs finish up their cross-examination of one of the rapper's ex-girlfriends. Now, the defense questioning the woman testifying under the pseudonym Jane about...
But instead of testimony, the courtroom was met with silence and confusion. Jane didn't appear. She wasn't absent. She wasn't hospitalized. She wasn't late. She was there, but not allowed to speak. The judge called a closed-door session, excluding even senior members of both legal teams. When court resumed, no explanation was given publicly, only a vague comment about extraordinary circumstances preventing Jane's appearance. Speculation exploded. Was it a legal technicality, a national security issue, or something far more sinister? Social media went into meltdown. Rumors ranged from federal interference to threats against the witness. Some accused Diddy's team of intimidation, while others suggested the court itself was being manipulated by forces even higher than the billionaire mogul's reach. The hashtag number "Let Jane Testify" trended within hours, and even prominent politicians weighed in, demanding transparency.
Combs' ex-girlfriend, who goes by the pseudonym Jane, returned to the stand for her second day of cross-examination.
Meanwhile, the prosecution scrambled. Jane's testimony had been meticulously built up for weeks, teased through supporting witness accounts, physical evidence, and audio clips. Without her, the prosecution's narrative now had a gaping hole, and Diddy's defense team wasted no time exploiting it.
Judge, but Eva, I think today really put into focus the tension that the defense is trying to show between coercion and consent.
Lead defense attorney Malcolm Rowe walked into the courtroom the next morning with the confidence of a man handed a gift from the gods. "If your honor won't allow hearsay," he argued, "then the prosecution has nothing but shadows and gossip." It was a brutal, surgical attack on the credibility of the state's case, and it landed hard. But the judge wasn't swayed. Not entirely. Though Jane was withheld from the stand, the court didn't grant the defense's motion to dismiss. Still, the setback was obvious. Jurors, once visibly emotional during prosecution testimony, now wore blank, uncertain faces. The rhythm of the trial had been disrupted. Momentum was shifting. Then, without warning, came the hammer blow.
Because the defense brought Jane back to some of her testimony on direct examination when she said she felt used by Sean Combs.
On Thursday morning of Week 5, the court ruled that the suppression of Jane's testimony, combined with procedural irregularities surrounding sealed evidence, meant certain charges against Diddy could proceed without her. The defense had gambled on her absence nullifying everything. They lost. The ruling opened the door for the jury to consider prior witness accounts and corroborated claims, even if Jane herself never took the stand. In legal terms, it was devastating. In human terms, it was a massive blow to Diddy's carefully orchestrated narrative. Outside the courthouse, Diddy's face told the story before his publicist could. Gone was the swagger, the sunglasses, the flash of arrogance. In its place, grim tension.
On a 2024 trip to Las Vegas, where Jane says that she flew with another famous rapper. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
For a man used to dominating headlines and bending attention to his will, he suddenly looked very small under the weight of an unpredictable legal system and a country that no longer seemed willing to look the other way. Meanwhile, Jane's silence became louder than any words she could have spoken.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted, he faces the possibility of life in prison.
Activist groups and public figures rallied to her defense, demanding answers about what or who stopped her. An independent watchdog group petitioned the court for an inquiry into witness tampering. By Friday, a special investigator was appointed to look into the barriers to testimony, signaling that this trial could spawn a second legal battle altogether. The media, of course, had a field day. News anchors dissected every expression, every sealed document, every whisper of inside information.
Pointed out, we saw a lot more text messages. In fact, I think the bedrock of the cross-examination from Tenny Garagos to Jane is just going over these text messages. I think around this idea of this Las Vegas trip. And now, coming back out of the lunch break, we continue with more testimony from Jane.
Podcasts, Twitter threads, TikToks. It became a modern-day courtroom thriller with no clear ending in sight. And through it all, Diddy remained stoic, perhaps finally aware that no amount of fame or legacy could shield him from the slow, grinding weight of justice. But public opinion is a fickle beast. Some supporters dug in their heels, insisting this was all a witch hunt. Others began to quietly drift away, unwilling to attach their names to a man whose trial now smelled of smoke and secrets. Legal analysts believe the final verdict may still be weeks away, but they agree on one thing. Diddy is no longer in control. What began as a high-profile case of he said, she said has mutated into a full-blown reckoning about power, silence, and what happens when justice is forced to wait.
Manipulated by Sean Combs, or when she felt disgusted or repulsed. And the jury showed her text messages after some of those episodes.
Whatever the ultimate outcome, this past week made one truth clear. Delaying testimony did not save Diddy. It may have doomed him. And Jane, though unheard, may yet prove to be the loudest voice in the room. More twists are guaranteed. Stay tuned.